Finally, we got the new 3 elite specs that we get the preview for this week. So this week we will get the Antiquary, the Paragon, and the Ritualist. So amazing choices to actually show off this week. I will cover the blog post and the trailer in this video, and I can tell you it's actually looking quite insane, to be honest. As always, special shout out to all my supporters that helped me keep the lights on. And now, without much further ado, let's analyze this blog post in the trailer and jump straight in. So here in the background, you can see the trailer. Link to it is of course in the description below. The same goes for the blog post. So let's start with the Antiquary. I think the Antiquary, especially in the trailer, looks like completely crazy, like completely unhinged, I have to be honest. I was already expecting it to be somewhat like crazy because it's like the Indiana Jones type style play, but the guitar and the weird stuff that they can steal apparently from enemies, it's like crazy. It's really like out of this world, I would say, or out of like Theories to some extent. So I'm not a lore guy, but this looks like completely crazy. I think the mechanics are probably really fun to play with, but let's see how it turns out. I can't wait to see the live stream that we get on Friday where they cover this, because I think this one is like the most insane spec they have yet like developed, in my opinion. But we will get to that. Let's now take a look at the blog post. Yes, the Antiquary, it is from the humans as far as I understand that. And it is definitely fitting the thief because they actually make it actually quite interesting, because it's like, so to say, they are not really antiquaries. It's more like they are thieves that are just calling themselves as some kind of scholar. So I think that makes a little bit more sense even. And the cards are really a big gimmick of this thing, is that there is a lot of RNG involved, or at least some RNG, because let's get to it. You use your scrit. So you get a scrit that will be instead of your steal that you can send out to get some stuff from the enemy. And it does not depend on what kind of enemy you steal, as far as I understand that. It is always some kind of random generated stolen skill that you will get from the scrit, depending on the traits that you choose. So if you normally would steal with the Antiquary, you get 2 stolen skills, and if you can use one of those, and that will be either some kind of protective bubble, for example, they mention here as the chuck, or it could be some really, really aggressive thing like the guitar or even the cryptis turret or whatever. So there are multiple things that could come in here. I don't know how big the pool will be, but it will probably be like crazy what kind of things you can steal, and that can be advantage, or sometimes you get just really bad stuff that for the current situation and it will not be that good. But with traits you can adapt this so that you like get one aggressive and one defensive skill all the time, so you actually have a little bit of a control of that. And there are apparently other traits as well that, for example, will let you reroll artifacts that you steal, so at the cost of initiative, so that you actually have a better chance of getting the one that you actually like. It sounds really interesting. So you will get some support capabilities in there, you will get some damage dealing capabilities in there, but all of it is somewhat RNG based. I don't know how high the RNG will be, but in Guild Wars 2 we don't have a spec yet that is like that crazy RNG heavy. So the Antiquary apparently will be the new one. And we will see if that pressing your luck is actually a good thing or if it's a bad thing in Guild Wars 2. Then we get double edge attacks. That's apparently the skill category that we will get. And those are not really clearly defined what they will be, but they will be able to be cast, and then they will not go on a cooldown, but you can still get them after they are, so to say, recharging and still use them again, but you will get punished for it, or you have a chance of getting punished again if the cooldown is too high. So if it's still high cooldown, you have a high chance of getting punished yourself. We don't know what this detrimental effects will be, but it will be very interesting. And if it's a very short before like the official cooldown would be back, then it's very unlikely that you will get punished. So very interesting design. So that is a very like high risk, high reward playstyle, I guess. So I'm really looking forward to that ones, depending on how high the like negative effect will be or how high the active benefit will be. I'm really like excited to see that one, especially in competitive modes. That sounds like absolutely like someone could be extremely lucky and just kill you because they used 3 times the skill without getting punished in a row, something like that. I hope it's balanced well, but I think in competitive modes, if it's balanced well, it sounds okay. But if it's like in PvE, I think that spec looks really fun. We will see if that's like really nice and the traits really help this spec, but I'm looking forward to it, to try it out. I'm personally not the biggest fan of the fantasy, but the general design of it looks quite fun. Now let's take a look at Ritualist. So Ritualist, you can see here, is really like how we predicted it to be from Recanthan humans, and you summon the spirits. And that's the whole thing about Ritualist. You summon spirits using your Shroud. It is a little bit different from Guild Wars 1, but it's obviously heavily inspired by Guild Wars 1. You summon the spirits in your Shrouds. You have 3 different spirits as far as I understood it. You have Anguish, Wanderlust, and Preservation. And you will summon them in your Shroud, but they will do one initial attack, or you will do one initial attack, and then they will linger around and do some specific passive attacks, so to say. You can target where they attack with your auto attack in Shroud. They can also be adjusted with a trait so that they actually stay after you leave the Shroud as well. And that sounds quite interesting. So I really like traits like this, that they are changing how you play the specific spec. I really like that. It's also interesting that they will actually have other effects as well. So they, for example, will deal additional damage to targets that are controlled or for each condition on the enemy. And for example, the Anguish additional attack will also mark the target that it takes additional damage from your summoned creatures. And that's not only spirits, but also minions. So you can actually do a spirit minion monster and actually have more effects that help you there. So really interesting how that looks like. What the attacks will be, so your skills are weapon spells. What exactly that is not completely clear, but they said it will be some kind of buff that you can provide, not only to yourself, but you can also share that with your allies at a reduced amount. And that will be like 5 seconds for the Ritualist and 3 seconds for the allies. What exactly it will be, they have not told us yet, but it will be probably some kind of speed effect they told us in the video, I think. I'm not sure if it will be quickness or if it's some kind of new buff, because we saw that with the Luminary. There is a new buff, some unique buff coming to it. Maybe the Ritualist gets one as well. Really looking forward to that spec. I think it's like not too unique in that sense. It's like classic what we expected for the Ritualist to be. But it is what everyone wanted, I guess. As a minion monster, spiritualist, yeah, looks like really cool. I'm really looking forward to the live stream again. By the way, if you want to see more news like this or just all the coverage about the new elite specs and stuff, be sure to subscribe. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. But now let's talk about the last one that we got today, which is the Paragon. Yes, the Paragon is there. And the Paragon is like we all expected. Yes, it is a warrior that is heavily support favored, but not only that, because they also said it's obviously like self-buffing and therefore can be probably run as a bruiser in competitive modes, but I think they heavily focus on buffing allies, and it's actually pretty good at that. So it is the Elonan humans with the Sun Spears and stuff that makes sense from the lore perspective, I would say. Nothing too bad here. It's also from Guild Wars 1 lore inspired, of course, but not too much, because, for example, they can actually give you with their elite skill will never yield some lethal blow ignoration to some extent. So they prevent the allies from falling below 0 health for a short time. So that means you can actually, I'm not sure how long that will be, probably different for each game mode. But if it's like 3 seconds or 4 seconds for allies, it's an amazing utility elite skill. So it's really looking forward to play that in PvP as well. But I think in PvE it will be like rivaling, for example, Troubadour if the duration is long enough. So I think it's not as good as the Troubadour one with the distortion, because it's just without any like specificality to it. You just get no damage, where this one here is just preventing you from dying. But that can also be, of course, maybe that can be abused, for example, if that's weird, on one-shot attacks, whereas invulnerability doesn't work, but I don't really see that. So interesting. Either way, I will talk more about this in the live stream, of course, when we see what actually is happening here. But we will get chanting, and you will, to some extent, will lose your adrenaline. You will get motivation that you build up as a new resource. And you will only have level 1 bursts, so it's a little bit like Spellbreaker to some extent, where you only have level 2 bursts. And you get access to chants as well. So the motivation that you build up is something that actually empowers your lingering effect of the chant skills. So the first part of the chant skills is just a normal attack, an immediate attack that helps your allies probably. And then your second part is an effect that stays around, that pulses. And this pulsing effect is so the refrain, and this will be draining your motivation, so your adrenaline, so to say. And if you can keep the motivation level high, you get more effect of this pulsing effect, and you can actually help your allies longer. And the instant effect is always independent of that. And then you also have the commands, which are your skill, utility skill category. They are similar to shouts, they say. We suspected as much, but it's a new thing, so it's commands, so something similar as Ranger already has. And that means that you will get an effect, and it will also does another effect after a while, and this is called the echo. And this is an interesting effect because this is somewhat similar to, for example, the Luminary again, because you can actually decide when to trigger this effect depending on if you use your burst skill. So if you use your burst skill, you actually trigger the echo effect instantly. So you can actually be really strategic and say, okay, I need my healing burst now and not in 2 seconds, because maybe in 2 seconds I'm already dead or my allies are dead. So this is a really interesting mechanic, and I'm really looking forward to play Warrior now as a support, because it's now way more, I would say, yeah, strategic than just spamming on a berserker your healing skills or spamming on just any support warrior, currently your shouts. This will be a little bit more like you have to think about it, hopefully, and play a little bit like more strategically to actually get more value out of your skills. I'm really looking forward to the warrior one. I think the Paragon is really nice. I hope it is really interesting and not just baseline healing and barrier and stuff, because that would be a little bit boring. Of course, that's good as well. I'm just hoping for something unique as well. I think the elite skill looks good, but I think it is not nearly as good as the distortion sharing from Troubadour. So I hope there will be something unique to the Paragon on top of that as well. So let me know your takes in the comments down below. I'm just really looking forward to the Friday live stream, and I will of course cover it here on my channel as well. And I'm just really hyped about the elite specs. I think all of them look actually quite fun and definitely quite insane in terms of how much over the top and unhinged, just general design space they actually explored here. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks again to all my supporters, and I hope to see you in the next video.